Hi super users, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to talk about the Update Student List program, which is an easy way to update the student list. This video is going to talk about the Philippines version of Update Student List. First of all, let me remind you of why an up-to-date student list file is very important. It allows students to save their work in their own personal folder, which makes it easier for them to find what they've done. The student list file must also be updated to create classes with Sir Neil's new Manage Classes program. Now, the biggest challenge of making the student list is getting good information from the section advisors. So the challenge is usually that the section advisors use different formats for typing in the student's name, section, and grade. What Update Student List does is allows you to take input files, soft copy files from the section advisors in whatever format you get it in, and automatically add it to the student list program in the proper format. It removes extra punctuation, it will remove the enyas automatically, and it just saves you a lot of time in making the student list file. I assume that you've read the instruction sheet already, and don't worry, it's actually much easier maybe than you think after reading the instructions. There are two major things that you will need to learn how to do. One of them I will call preparing the inputs, and that means taking the soft copy files that you get from the section advisors and doing some minor changes to make it ready to read by the Update Student List program. And then I'll show you how to run the program. Okay, super users, let's get started. Probably the easiest way to explain this program is to do some examples. I'm going to use some example files that we received over the years from different schools, so you may recognize some of the students' names and some of the sections. I have put some of these on my flash drive, and this is how you would probably receive information from your section advisors. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my flash drive, and you'll see the icon show up. I'm going to open that flash drive, and you'll see that I have a folder called Files from Advisors. And within that folder I have some examples that I'll show you how to prepare those for input to Update Student List. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is put those files from advisors into the right place for preparing the inputs. I'm going to navigate there right now. Now, I'm going to navigate to the place where the student list file is located. And if you'll remember where that is, we open File System, we go to Client Home, and there's a folder called Share. And I'm going to open that folder. And here's where the studentlist.csv is. Now, there is also going to be a new folder called Student Source Lists. And that is very important. Now, the first time you run this program, it will automatically create that folder for you. And when we open that folder, we'll see a folder called 2017, and that's where you will do your work for the 2017-2018 school year student list. Now, 1 year from now, at the beginning of school year 2018-2019, you will need to create a new 2018 folder. But let's go ahead and open the 2017 folder. And there's nothing in there right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a folder So I will right-click, choose Create Folder, and I'm going to call it Files from Advisors. And that's where I'm going to put all of the soft copy files that I get from my advisors one by one as I get them from my section advisors. I'm going to open that folder, and now I'm going to copy from my flash drive those example files. So I'm going to highlight all of them, and I'm just going to drag them from my flash drive into Client Home, Share, Student Source Lists 2017 Files from Advisors. Okay. So now they're here, and I'm going to just do one example to show you how this works. So I'm going to pick one of these. I'm going to pick the file called the List of Computer Students. And I'm opening that in Calc. And I think this file is maybe from Consolacion National High School. And it probably doesn't look like the way you make your files. So that's always the challenge. So what I have to do is to copy this into a format, but a very easy format. Now you'll notice that this format has a worksheet for each section. So I'm going to pick one of these sections. I'm going to pick 9th grade St. Peter. And for this example, we'll notice that the name is all in one column. First name, middle name, and last name. Now the instructions tell you the first thing you need to do is to open up a new worksheet or a new Calc spreadsheet. So I'm going to go to File, New, Spreadsheet, and I open a new spreadsheet. Now all of my name is in one column, so the instructions say I'm going to make a header row, and I just type the word name. And I also need a column for section and a column for grade. Since all of the student name is in one column, I just need one name column. I don't have to worry about splitting it into 3 different columns. The program will do that automatically. So I'm going to come back to the soft copy that my advisor gave me, and I'm going to highlight the names. I'm going to copy them from the soft copy. I'm going to go to my new spreadsheet, and I'm going to paste those names. Now I will go get the names of the females. In the same way, I'm going to highlight, copy, and paste in the same name column. I now need to add the section and the grade. So this is grade 9, St. Peter. So I will type here St. Peter and 9th grade. And you'll notice I only need to do it in the top student. It will automatically copy it down, so you do not need to do that. So now we will save this file. We're going to save this file now. We're going to first give it a file name. And you can have the file name be anything that you want, but I recommend that you make it a meaningful file name so you will recognize what's in there later. So I'm going to call this St. Peter-9. So section St. Peter, grade 9. Now I need to navigate to where these files must go for the program. I'm going to click on File System. I'm going to go to Client Home, Share, Student Source Lists, and finally 2017. So that's where I'm going to store this file. Now the last thing I need to do is save it in the format .csv. To do that, I come down to where it says All Formats. I click on that and I scroll down to Text CSV. So I have my file name, storing it in the 2017 folder as a CSV file. When I click Save, it will ask me for sure if I want to do that, and I say yes, use Text CSV format. And finally it will ask for my character set, and it should default to Unicode UTF-8. And we say OK. Okay, so we've saved that file now. So that's in 2017 here. So what we've done is we've taken the original file that we got from our section advisor, we copied it into a new file, a much simpler file with these special headings, but we haven't had to do any other formatting. And so now super users, you could go on to the other files that your section advisors have given you. But I want to go ahead and show you how to run the program. You can run this program any time during this process, and you can run it multiple times. That's not a problem. So I'm going to close this file, and I'm going to open a terminal window, and I'm going to come down here and click on this terminal window. Now you need to be logged in as sysadmin to do this work. So always remember that. Go ahead and log in as sysadmin. And I'm going to go ahead and type updateStudentList, the name of the program. Now when I hit enter, it's going to open up a window, and it's going to ask you what files you want to add to the student list. So it will automatically go to Student Source Lists, and I will click on that, and I'm going to pick 2017, and we'll see there it has my St. Peter 9 CSV file. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to say OK. Now when I do that, the program has run. It tells you what file got processed, so it processed the St. Peter 9.csv file, and it has added 69 students to my student list. And it shows that I've added now one section and one grade. Now let's go ahead and look at the student list and see what happened. So I'm going to navigate to Client Home, Share, and I'm going to open up my StudentList.csv file. And when I do that, I see that it has taken the information that I copied and pasted and automatically formatted it in exactly the right way. So the program has automatically taken care of building my StudentList.csv file. Now you may ask, what happened to my old student list? This is only showing the things that I just added. Well, this program will recognize the very first time at the beginning of the school year when you're creating a new student list, and it will automatically save the old student list. So let me show you where that is. It's in the Share folder. You'll see a folder now called Old Student Lists. And when you open that, you will see your old student list automatically got saved. So you don't need to worry about clearing out your old student list before you start with this. Now I'm going to work through some other examples now just to show you some other formats. And I'm not going to run the program each time. I'm going to do several examples, and then I'll show you how to add several files at one time. So let me go back to my examples. These are files that I got from my section advisors. The next example I'm going to show you is this file. Now you'll notice this file separates the students into a last name column, a first name column, and a middle initial column. And you'll even notice that there are some extra columns in there that we don't need. Now the program will automatically ignore blank columns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my new spreadsheet, and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go ahead and just copy the boys' names first. So I can do that, but I just want to remember to paste them starting in the second row. I want to leave the first row for encoding my column names. So I'm going to paste. So now I can see my last name is here. Now since I have a last, a first, and a middle, I need to not just use the word name, but I actually need to encode last name, first name, and middle name. And at the end I still need section and grade. But the program is smart enough to ignore any empty columns in there. It will only look for the headings that it knows to look for. So let me go back, and I'm going to get the girls now the same way. And I'm going to paste. Now you'll notice that the girls' middle initials are in a different column, so I do have to copy those and paste them in the right place. And I need to encode the section name, and it's St. Andrew, grade 10. So I'll write St. Andrew, grade 10. And I'm going to save that. Again, I'm going to give it a meaningful file name. I'm going to navigate to Client Home, Share, Student Source List 2017, and I'm going to pick CSV. Now we're going to do an example with an LIS file. So perhaps your section advisors have already encoded the information in LIS. So I'm going to open an example, and I'm going to open a new spreadsheet, and I'm going to type a column called name. Now you'll notice that in LIS several merged files, merged columns are used for the name, but it's only in one column. So now I'm going to try to put section and grade out here to accommodate that merged file. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to go over and paste the names. And you'll see how there's an extra row in there, but the program will automatically remove that extra row. So you don't need to worry about that. And you'll see that now I can just type the section and the grade there. I want to mention on section, you should use the capitalization that you want here. So you can see I've put a capital O here. You can have all capitals, or you can have the first letter capital. Just be consistent so it looks nice. But you can use anything you want here. And now we'll save the file, save as, and we'll go to Client Home, Share, student source files 2017. I'm going to give it the file name of Osmania 7, so I recognize it, and I will choose the CSV file and save it. Use a document file. I'm going to open an example of a .docx file where the names are encoded here, and just like before, what we'll do is we'll open a new spreadsheet. So we do want to make sure it's a spreadsheet. We'll add our headings, and in this case all of the names are in one column, so we'll just put name, and I'm going to copy and paste the names from the Microsoft Word document. And I'll just go ahead and copy the rest of them here and paste them into my spreadsheet. So even if your section advisors give you data that's not in a spreadsheet, you can go ahead and use it. And I'll encode the section name here, section humility, and grade 11. And just as before, we'll save the file. I'm going to call it humility 11. And I'll navigate to client home, share student source list 2017, and I will choose to save it as a .csv file. The very first time you build one of these CSV files from what you get from the section advisor, it may take a little time, but you can see once you get started and get used to where to navigate to, it can go very, very quickly. So far we've been doing one section at a time, and what I'd like to show you now is a way to do multiple sections. Sometimes you get a file from guidance that has several different sections in it. So let me show you an example of that. So this has cookery and gas together for grade 11. So we're going to go ahead and open up a new spreadsheet, and you'll notice that these students have their names in two columns. So we're going to put last name and first name, and then section and grade. So in this case, I can actually choose students from more than one section. So I'm just going to choose, in this case, all of the 11th grade students. I'll copy and paste. Now you'll notice that I didn't put first name in exactly the right place, so I'm going to cut these and then paste them in the proper place. There we go. So I now have two different sections. Now I tell the program that by coming here, and the first one is cookery. So I will type cookery here, grade 11, and I don't have to repeat that until I get down to the next section, which starts with Kyle Joseph. So I'll come down to where Kyle Joseph is and type in gas and 11. And again, I can leave blank rows, that's not a problem. But the program will automatically recognize when there's a section change, and it will populate gas, and 11 down to all of the students below. The last thing we need to do here now is to save our file. Now, since I have multiple sections, I'm going to call this grade 11, and again, it can be any name you want as long as it's clear to you. Go to Client Home, Share, Student Source List 2017, and I choose CSV. Now, before I go back to running the program on all of these files that we've created, I'm going to go ahead and make an erroneous file, and I'll show you what happens when we have an erroneous file. So I'm going to open a new spreadsheet. I'm going to type my headings, and I'm going to type in a student name, but I'm not going to put in a section. So suppose we forget to put in a section. And I'm going to save this in my usual way. I'm going to call it grade 7. Actually, let me call it error so we can clearly see what happens to it. And we'll save it as CSV. Okay. So now we're ready to run the program on all of those input files